Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to the show. I will be attending the RapsCon and Raps VIP in Long Beach on August 2nd to the 4th. I'll also be doing podcast interviews, so if you're interested in getting in an interview with me, please contact me via email at allwrappeduppodcast.com. Head over there for more information to set up time and date. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the 3rd Annual Raps VIP on August 3rd at 8 p.m. in Long Beach, California, right after RapsCon. This event is hosted by the IBOW, Dub IR, and Rapper Mapper, with sponsors like Orfold, 3M, Avery Dennison, along with tons of additional sponsors, networks, tools, and shops. Raps VIP is a totally free event by the rap industry for the rap industry. Everyone is welcome and all aspects of the industry are respected and supported. They'll also be having a classic car show with wrapped cars from the 50s and 60s. And what's an event without a little bit of competition? So they'll also be doing a die-cast car wrapping competition. There'll also be a live broadcast with yours truly from the Raps VIP event and some sit-down talks with some industry leaders. For more information, check out rapsvipevent.com. They'll also be posting some information and some updated stuff on their social media account. So head over to rapsvipevent.com to get any more additional information about the event. Now here's a brand new episode of All Wrapped Up.
I grew up in a mechanic shop. I've been turning wrenches ever since I was a kid. So I got tired of it and started delivering auto parts for a company that used to bring parts to my family business. So I was doing that and I was driving and I dropped off some parts and some guy was wrapping his car. And I was like, dude, what is that stuff? And he's like, oh, it's car wrap. And I was like, what? He's like, it looks like a sticker. And then he explains it to me and I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up Podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading rap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. All right, so we'll go live. We have Moody, Marchoud. Marchoud. I knew I was going to mess that up. God damn it.
Oh, it's all good.
From High Tech Vinyl Installation. What's going on, brother?
Nothing much. How you doing today?
Nothing much, man. I'm doing well. I can't complain with the weather here. Finally, we've getting into the 90s here in Boston.
Oh yeah, we're about 85-ish right now. Over the weekend, it was like 60. I don't know. California weather can't make up its mind ever.
Yeah, that's too funny. Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of waiting for spring to come in full bloom and kind of get the good weather rolling. And finally, it's here now. I'm kind of regretting it because the humidity is so high.
Oh, yeah. Our humidity is pretty low over here, so
yeah.
I don't have to worry about that one.
Yeah, I'd take California any day over being here.
Yeah, except for the traffic. God.
Yeah, except for that. I mean, Boston can be pretty bad once in a while, but yeah, Cali definitely takes a cake on that one.
No, yeah, our traffic's constant.
Yeah.
Always.
We'll definitely talk a little bit about that as well.
Definitely.
As you being a traveler, to go to different places and install different wraps in different locations, that must be a huge kind of, I don't want to say waste of time, but sitting in traffic, man, is never fun.
It's a huge, I would call it a factor into a lot of things.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that, but I want to get the podcast started by getting an inside look on what you have going on for the week this week.
This week we're actually all week we got some news vans we're doing for Channel 4.
Okay.
And then what else we got going on? We're doing a Polaris Razor. We're doing a full color change on that for our buddies over at Rap Gloves. They needed an extra hand on it.
That's awesome.
We're doing, over the weekend, we're doing 4 box trucks for this mobile advertisement company. And I think that's it for this week. Oh, and we got a couple removals.
Oh, removals. Those are always fun, right?
Oh, that's why you have someone else do
Yeah,
it?
man. I know a guy that's local to me, and he only removes vinyl, whether it be wrap or calendared or whatever. That's like his gig, and I'm like, what do your fingers look like? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, I mean, there's a couple companies out here, they just do strictly removal, and they have some really nice equipment for removals that, I mean, that's all they do. So
That's insane. So not only do you put it on, but you actually have some type of service to take it off.
yeah, we do. We install and remove. So sometimes some of our projects we have to do removals. So it's just it's the nature of the game. I mean, it isn't a perfect world, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, in order to get that job, sometimes you got to deal with taking taking off the old stuff, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, but
No, yeah, a lot of the times.
yeah.
Actually, on those news vans we're doing, we have to do full removal and then we're doing a partial wrap on it.
Oh, okay.
So
Were
yeah.
you the one who installed it prior?
No, I wasn't. This is actually one of my customers. This is their new account. So um, they they hired 3 or 4 other companies, and everybody's bailed out on them.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I don't know. I mean, I was supposed to have the contract from the beginning, but I feel like they felt like they were giving me too much work. So it is what it is.
So they like to spread the love a little bit to other people.
Yeah, and then it
Mm.
circles back around, and I got it still. So
It's funny how shit works sometimes, right?
exactly, I can't complain. I mean, we're over here just trying to do our best and keep our quality up and keep everybody happy. So
Yeah, that's
that's
what
the
it's
main
all
factor.
about. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, you don't really work alone, right? How many people do you have working with you?
At this point, it's me and 3 full-time installers, and I have a bunch of close friends, or they became friends, but they're subcontractors that I trust, and I always pick up on when I need extra hands.
Nice. Now, as far as the your main crew that's with you full time, um, did you help train them, or they already come kind of molded
Well,
already?
one was already trained. The other one, he started fresh.
Nice.
Um, I met him. I ride mountain bikes and stuff like that. I met him through the local bike shop, and one day I told him, I was like, "Hey, I said something. He's like, "Man, I need some extra work," and I was like, "Hey, come give me a hand on some removals." And he started to helping me on removals, and then next thing you notice, he's working for me. So, and then the third guy is actually one of my buddies who helped me start the company. He went back to college for the time being, or he went back to college, and it's summer break right now, so he's back with us.
Nice. Nice. So you've had the same group of guys for quite a while?
No, not. I mean, at first, it was me and a partner, and that was my buddy from we went to high school together and stuff like that, and we started the business together. And he played college baseball. He came back, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, I've been doing this rap stuff. You want to come work? You can make some extra side money." And then next thing you notice, we're installing 300 trailers.
Wow.
So
With just
yeah, it
you
was.
guys, just you two?
Yeah, and then at that time we had subcontractors helping us out, people that I knew, people that I've met through the industry and stuff like that that are local, and they were helping us out on the project, and we pulled through and finished all 300 units within the time. So
Wow. What was the time limit for that?
I can't remember. It was only Saturdays and Sundays,
Oh,
and I think it was like 3 months.
wow.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Wow. So you were averaging how many a day? Do you remember?
Oh shoot.
At 300 for 3 months. So that's like,
Well, 150 of them were trailers, and 150 of them were the actual cabs.
oh, okay.
So we were doing, I want to say 10 cabs a day easily. And
Wow.
then it was just cut decals, overlays, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the trailers, we were doing, it depended on the size. If they were, pup trailers, we were doing, I want to say 10 a day.
That's
If they were
incredible.
53 footers, it would be a little longer, but, um, Yeah. Luckily, it wasn't full coverage trailers; they were partial covers, so
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't too bad.
Now, did that come straight to you, or was that outsourced just for you to go do the install?
I was hired just to do the install on that one.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Sometimes it's better that way. You don't have to deal with the production side of things and the color management and scheduling and all that other
Well, I mean,
jibber jabber.
scheduling I still have to deal with, but I feel like there's so many parts to our industry that you can honestly just focus on one aspect of the industry and be able to make money.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do everything in-house. You can just print and make money.
Right.
You can just install, you can make money. You can just graphic design, you can make money. You could just do the sales and make money. I mean, every aspect of this business, you can make money off of it.
Oh, I definitely agree on that for sure. And I think that's a key note as far as the way things work is, you can just be an installer, you can just be a production guy, you can just be a designer, and that all can be within one umbrella. You don't have to wear all the hats. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, exactly. And I feel like the industry, I mean, if you try to wear all those hats, you're just going to go crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know how some people do it.
Yeah, you suffer.
You hire people and, next thing you know, the salespeople are leaving, and then you're back in there trying to remember how to print everything out and how to scale everything. And, that's why we just went towards installs only. We started out, as a color change shop, and we worked alongside with other people. And we started doing color changes with Carl Brewer.
Okay.
And he hired us as subcontractors, and we were working with him. And we spent almost a whole year working with him over here in California, doing color changes every week.
Wow.
And then, it was insane. It was constant color changes, constant chrome deletes, constant just cars. Every single day was something different.
Now, what year was that happening at?
Oh man,
do you remember?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Okay.
So yeah, let me start from the very beginning. In 2009, I was delivering auto parts. I grew up in a mechanic shop. I've been turning wrenches ever since I was a kid. So I got tired of it and started delivering auto parts for a company that used to bring parts to my family business. Okay. So I was doing that, and I was driving, and I dropped off some parts, and some guy was wrapping his car. And I was like, dude, what is that stuff? And he's like, oh, it's car wrap. And I was like, what? It's like, it looks like a sticker. And then he explains it to me, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. So I tried to convince a bunch of buddies to do it, but no one wanted to let me do it. So I was like, all right, well, there goes that hope and dream. And then I want to say 2011, one of my buddies asked me to wrap like some mirror caps on his, I think it was like a Supra or something, an old Supra. And he's like, you think you could do it? I was like, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. And then he was like, all right, I'll buy the material. So we ordered material. We ordered 5 feet. We got 35 feet.
Jesus.
They messed up on the order. And this company's out of business now that we ordered it from.
I was going to say, do you remember who it was?
Oh, yeah. It was, every time I see the guy, I tell him. So, yeah. So, every time I see him, I'm like, hey, man, without you guys messing up your order, I wouldn't be in this industry.
That's too funny.
So I did my buddy's mirrors, and then I was like, man, I have a bunch of extra material. So I was still working at the mechanic shop at the time, and luckily I knew everybody in the center. I mean, there's probably 8 different shops in this center that all do mechanics.
Wow.
So I knew everybody, and I was like, hey, like for $50. Actually, at the time, I was working at the shop, but I wasn't getting paid anymore because the economy was dropping, and, family business, I was the first one to lose a check.
Yeah.
So I was asking everybody in the shopping center, like, hey, let me do your hood. Let me do your hood. And they're like, oh, how much? And, I gave them a super, super cheap price. I didn't know what I was doing. So I did a hood. It took me 6 hours, but I did it.
And, 6 hours? Holy shit.
The crazy thing is the wrap stayed on it for 4 years.
That's awesome. Do you remember what type of material it was? Do you remember the brand and everything?
Yeah, it was 3M 1080,
Wow.
and it was on a Toyota Scion XB.
Okay, XB. So it's just a lunchbox, simple hood,
Yeah,
square.
simple hood. I mean, I do a hood now by myself in 12 minutes. So
Right? It's funny to look back and be like, wow, 6 hours, 12 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then from that point, I was like, man, let me see if I can get someone else in the center to do something. And then I think I did a roof on like a Lexus. And then I was like, oh, I could actually make some money off of this. So I went online and started searching around, and I actually took the Hexus training.
Okay.
And I did Hexus training with the old trainer before Albert. And from there, I just kind of bought material and started playing with it. And then I hopped into my first full car wrap, and I feel bad for that customer. I wouldn't call him a customer. I feel bad for the kid who brought his car.
Do you remember what car
But,
it was?
Yeah, it was a Mercedes S550.
Wow.
And this was 6 or 7 years ago.
Wow.
And
That probably, Mercedes aren't really that, their bumpers are pretty legit, you know what I mean?
yeah, and luckily, like I said, I grew up in a mechanic shop, so taking cars apart is easy for me.
Yeah,
I
second
can,
nature.
I'll pull any car apart. I mean, you name it, I'll pull it apart. It's not an issue.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, so I did that one, and then from there it was like, maybe I shouldn't do this. This is really hard. And then it was like I just kept at it, and my buddy came back from college, and I was like, hey, like I'm doing this rapping stuff. You want to help me? And then he just started out helping me. And then next thing you notice, he's a business partner, and we're working with Carl Brewer and just slamming out color changes. And we did, like I said, color change after color change, chrome delete after chrome delete. I was making a 3-hour drive every day just to help him.
Wow.
But it was more for the wisdom and not the money.
Right. You were kind of
So,
paying your dues and kind of building some type of backer. You know what I mean? Getting a lot of cars underneath your belt. I mean, if you were to start by yourself, do you think you could have pulled a few cars a week to experience on and to get that knowledge if you weren't with Carl?
I mean, possibly. I mean, I would say I'd be able to get the business, but my quality. I actually met Albert Hatfield first, and because I was Hexus or I did Hexus training, and then I did the Hexus certification, which I met Albert, I want to say 3 months before that, and then I was going to his classes to kind of refresh on everything.
Yeah.
And then Albert was like, "Hey man, you're pretty decent. Like, you should take the certification." And I was like, I don't know. And then he pushed me to really do the certification, and I remember we did the certification and everything was in Celsius and millimeters.
Wow.
The whole test. And I was like, hey, Albert, can you convert all this for us? He's like, yeah, let me help you.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, so I did that. I did the certification, and then through Albert, I met, Matt over at Phenomenal Vinyl. I met Carl Brewer, and Albert was actually the one who introduced me to a lot of the people in the industry. Wow. And then that's how I started working with Carl. And, I think me, Albert, and my ex-partner, Greg, we did the BTO trailer, which is a Supercross trailer. Mm-hmm. And originally we were going to do a print wrap on it. Well, Albert had a great idea of knifelessing the whole trailer.
Jesus.
Yeah, and we spent, what was it? It was like 660 man hours wrapping the trailer and color change film and overlay decals and the semi. And I want to say it was brushed aluminum, white sparkle, and orange.
My God.
It was ridiculous. We wrapped the truck one time and then put another layer on top of it and then another layer on top of it because they didn't want any seams.
Right.
So we did all that. And it was ridiculous. And that's when Carl saw me and my partner at the time, Greg, and he was like, hey, who are you guys? I have a shop over here in Agora Hills. You should come and like check it out. And then next thing you notice, we're with Carl for about a year. It was about a year we were with him.
That's awesome. I mean, the experience you gain alone probably from that 1 year or that first year of really getting a solid grip on the industry. You probably saw how Carl was like getting jobs, business end of things, and how all that worked, as well as gaining experience underneath the knife, so to say.
Yeah, I mean, with Carl, he's install only too, so
yeah,
it kind of turned the switch on for just doing installs only.
mm-hmm.
And Carl did the big reveal, and the first year he did it, we actually were there. I took apart every single car that was on the show on the floor, and I put it back together, and I think we did all the cars in 14 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, working alongside with him and stuff like that, I didn't realize how good I was. I just thought I was, I can take a giant sticker and put it around a car, like, ooh, wow, so.
Yeah, no, it takes work, man.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't until the big reveal where a bunch of other people started coming in, some big name people that, I only saw them on Instagram type of thing. And it was like, I'm rapping alongside these guys, and, I'm doing just as good or better than some of them.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, whoa, I'm actually pretty decent at this. And then, then it started out like, oh, who's these two guys? And then by the end of the whole big reveal thing, everybody kind of knew who me and my partner were at the time.
That's incredible.
And it was just, it was crazy.
That's incredible. Yeah, sometimes it's the recognition or the validation from your peers sometimes, that, you look at things and you're like, okay, this is a career or this is a job. This is what I need to get done, and I'm going to do the best that I can, to get the job done. But then like none of us really sit back and be like, yeah, I'm really good at, like, nobody really fluffs their wings. You know what I mean? Everyone's kind of real humble. But it's nice to hear from your peers, be like, yo, that rap, really nice, really clean, that sometimes goes a lot further than.
No, yeah. And I just remember, we were doing that, when the Terminator Chrome came out with Arlon, and that was one of the colors they were releasing at the big reveal.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody was trying to wrap a fender on a 458. Everybody just kept ripping the vinyl, and they couldn't get it to work.
Yeah.
And then I told my partner at the time, I was like, hey, should we try? And he's like, yeah, let's go. I mean, it's chrome. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
So we go and we do the fender, and we just bang it out. And it was almost like everybody's like, all right, who are these guys?
Yeah, it didn't even bat an eye, huh? What did you guys do different at that time that you saw everyone else not doing?
We used a pod steamer.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you actually look back at one of the first videos with the pod steamer, it was inside my garage at my house with me, Greg, and Carl. And we were doing a back bumper on a C63 in chrome.
Wow.
And Carl got the pod steamer, and he's like, hey, I want to try this on some chrome. And I was like, hey, I have a chrome car coming up. And then, yeah, it worked amazing. That C63 I did was probably one of my cleanest cars I've ever done. I had a really big budget on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the time wasn't an issue. And I dedicated a whole week to it, and it just came out, I want to say, flawless. I had a detailer come and do it, and he was like, dude, I detail cars all day. And he was like, this car is almost flawless. I was like, man, thanks.
Coming from a detail guy.
Yeah. And he was just shocked how clean we did. And, it was one of those, we had the budget to sit here and, spend that much time on it.
Right.
And, in the color change industry, it's really hard to judge that time and, have a big budget. So
yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't have that, or even get the opportunity to get that big budget, in time frame to get these jobs done, unless you're doing like a SEMA build if it's, 6 months in advance or whatnot, but,
Man, if
if
you get a
that.
SEMA car 6 months in advance,
Consider
that's
yourself
amazing.
lucky. Yeah, no, I know, I
I
know.
get my SEMA cars like 3 days before SEMA. Hey, can you wrap this?
Hey, I got this crazy design. I got the vinyl ready to go. I just needed it
Yeah.
installed.
Yeah. Oh, send me a picture. And then it's like a million lines going across the side of the car. Like, huh? You want all that done on it?
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Yeah. No, can't do that in time.
Oh man. Were you able to, when you did the chrome wrap, uh did you have to hide a lot of your seams, or do you remember how many seams you had to go through?
Not a lot.
Not a lot on it.
Yeah. Luckily, the front bumper on that one, we did gloss black, or we used the original color of the car, which was gloss black, to kind of give it an effect on the front bumper. And then the rear bumper was in one piece. Yeah, I don't think there was no seams. We did matte black on the hood and roof and trunk, so there was no seams there. Yeah, it was almost seamless.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that car, we had a huge budget. We did wheels, tires, LED lights, lowered it, wrapped the brake calipers, yellow accents, custom hand painted all the emblems, custom hand painted the AMG and the exhaust tip. We did ceramic tint on the windows. And I think that's it. We did a lot of stuff to that car.
Wow. So basically it was almost like a full build. Not
Yeah,
just
and,
a freaking wrap.
No, yeah, it was a full build.
Wow.
And I just remember this girl, she walks in, and she was like, hey, I want to get my car wrapped. And I was like, all right, cool. And I priced it. She was like, well, I want a chrome and I want this and I want that. And she just like rambles off everything. And I was like, okay, she's just price shopping. And I gave her a price and she hit me like $2,000 lower. And I was like, and then she pulls out cash. And then I was like, yeah, no problem. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, cash is king.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. And what year was that? Do you remember? Time frame?
Oh man, maybe 3 years ago.
That's awesome. What in comparison to that being kind of like a highlight, do you have any other cars that you're really kind of proud about that you've done?
I mean, I've done cars. So I don't know if you're familiar with a show called Roadkill on YouTube.
Roadkill? No, I haven't seen that. I'll have to look it up though.
Okay, yeah. So I have buddies, that are in the boating industry and stuff like that. And he gave me a phone call one day and he's like, hey, my buddy wants his car wrapped for this YouTube channel. And I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, let's go ahead and do it. He's like, all right, I'll be working there. I'll introduce you. And I didn't realize how big this YouTube channel was.
Mm-hmm.
I think the episode I was in got like 1.2 million views.
Wow.
And yeah. So I was like, yeah, okay, it's just YouTube. And it was full production. It was mayhem. It was a 55 Bel Air gasser.
Wow.
We did it in 3 days. And I think I slept there all 3 days.
That's incredible.
So, yeah. And, that was in 2014. It was issued in Hot Rod Magazine. I've done cars from that car. I got referred to Diesel Tuner and then Import something, and Super Street. I've done a car. So,
wow.
Surprisingly enough, all those magazines are owned by one company.
Right.
So once you get in with one of them, it's kind of easy to get your name out there and just be in magazines. I mean, it's cool. The YouTube series was really cool just to see how they filmed it, and having a camera in your face 24/7, and just the mayhem that goes on behind the scenes and stuff like that. So
right, yeah, and that's pretty infancy, dating back to that time. That's kind of infancy when YouTube was kind of like a hot thing, but not really. Not like now where you've got so many vloggers and people just exactly. making a career out of being on YouTube at this point. Just having that recognition back then, man, must have kind of spiked up, as far as your company.
Yeah, I mean, when the article came out in Hot Rod Magazine, I was getting phone calls for across the United States.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm in California. And they were like, oh man, well, I'm in New York. Can you come here? And I'm like, no, I don't do that. And, I didn't know any better back then. And I was still kind of fresh, and I wouldn't say fresh, but, I wasn't going to be like, yeah, I'll travel over there. It was more like, oh, I want to be a color change shop and that type of stuff. So,
Right. Like a niche industry
yeah.
path you wanted to take. Now on the Bel Air, what you just did a color change with some graphics, or was it a full print?
It was Avery, matte black. We did a full color change, and then I did, I forgot. Oh, the engine turn gold,
Gold leaf
decals on the side. Yeah, gold leaf on the side.
Wow, it's kind of old school, traditional, kind of gasser style.
No, yeah, most definitely. And what's crazy is if you type in on Instagram the hashtag, there's people who make replicas of this car.
Really?
Like people who've made hand RC cars. They've painted it to resemble it. People who've drawn this car. It's insane to me that I was part of that, and people are over here drawing it and replicating it and all this stuff just to, because they love the show. And it was like, man, I was part of that. I made that car what it is. I made it look like what it was.
Right.
And I remember I had a cheap plotter at the time, and we're cutting the stickers out, and my plotter broke.
Oh,
and
jeez.
I had my company, my buddy who did all the fiberglass works company, and then his buddy who works for Hot Rod, his company. And I had one set of stickers, and we were supposed to have two set of stickers to put on either side of the car.
Right.
And I just remember I was like, hey, how about if we put all the sponsorships on the trunk? And it wasn't supposed to be like that. All the sponsorships were supposed to go down the side on either side of the car. And we just put all the sponsorships on the trunk. And I don't know, that became like an iconic thing for that car, with all the sponsorships just all over the trunk. And you look at people who draw the car, who made a RC car out of it or something. It's my company name's there, my buddy's company name, the main guy from Hot Rod's company's name's there. It's crazy that people actually look at that much detail and actually put my company name on the back of their little RC car.
That's insane. To go in that fine detail, it's a craft. It's a piece of art at the end of the day. Sometimes, what we create is, to people art, and they see it as that. It's not just a vehicle or a graphic. It's a piece of art. And to have someone replicate what you have done, man, that must have been super humbling.
No, yeah. And, with this industry, I've always tried to stay humble, and I'm not one to say I'm better than someone else. There's always going to be that kid in a garage that's making $200 wrapping a car, and next thing you notice, he's at SEMA better than everybody else. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I started out, turning wrenches, and I grew up working in in the mechanic shop, and, I never thought in a million years I'd be doing vehicle wraps. And it's a blessing to where I am now. And I wouldn't change anything for what has happened.
Do you think if you had stayed in the path you were going, would you just have ended up in your family's business?
I mean, that's all I knew. So, yeah.
Either with them or someone else, more or less.
What was that?
Either with them or with someone else, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to college, and it wasn't really for me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a hands-on type of person. I need to use my hands to do stuff. I'm not one to sit there and type an essay and be good at it. I'm better at taking stuff apart and putting it back together, or just using my hands in general. So I was doing the college thing, and I'm actually glad I dropped out. So
From college. Did you take a vocational class during high school?
yeah, I actually took auto class all 4 years of high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that that definitely helped to get through the classroom stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, in high school, I already knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, well, today we're going to learn how to change a spark plug. And it was like, oh, I've been doing that since I was 7.
Yeah. Teaching it's always fun when you're teaching the teacher certain things
Well,
once in a while.
what's crazy is that same teacher, we stayed in communications. We have both the similar, we both hunt and go shooting. So, we clicked in high school, and he got my number and I got his, and we stayed in communications. And I want to say a month ago, I actually went down to Fullerton High School and did demonstrations. And Arlon was nice enough to give me a bunch of free material to take down there and let the kids just play with.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
incredible, man. I know I've said this a few times in previous episodes that I'm just waiting for the time that the acknowledgement of the vehicle wrap industry gets applied to something like that, like the vocational schools, where the
well,
kids can play with that.
yeah, the problem is now a lot of the younger generations, they don't want to work with their hands. They want to sit on a computer. They want to make good money. The issue that's going to happen in 10, 20 years from now is there's not going to be people who want to work with their hands.
Yeah, the
And
trade, more or less.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, your typical, let's say, blue collar worker, you're not going to have people who are going to be able to do construction. You're not going to have those type of workers. I mean, I do a lot of fleet work, so I honestly want to say we're closer to a construction worker than anything else.
Yeah, I'd agree. I definitely agree. The continuous, uh, day in, day out, somewhat of the similar aspects in day-to-day activities. It's repetitive, so to
No,
say.
yeah,
You know what I
most
mean?
definitely. Especially when you have, 40 trailers that have the same logo on the side.
Exactly.
It gets very,
Yeah, you can only build so many houses before they stop becoming all the same. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And it's to the point now where I'm doing an install. I don't even look at what it looks like. I'm just matching everything up. Like, okay, that matches up, that matches up, that matches up. Okay, lay it. And
Yeah.
then I step away and it's like, oh, wow, it's a giant water bottle.
Yeah. That's too funny. Yeah, when it's repetitive like that, I mean, when I was doing fleets, I wasn't doing hundreds, but when I would do like smaller groups of 10 or 12, it became like a game of uh recognizing the body lines. Okay, I remember this R at this word hit that body line. If I kept
Yeah,
that panel every single time, it would save me an extra like 2 minutes of measuring it. I knew it hit that line. Boom, let's get it on, get it going. And
exactly.
when you continuously doing that, you're shaving minutes, and then it turns into hours, and then you're adding another vehicle to that day, and it's you know that's when it, and it's more like you have to look back at that as you're going through. You can't just be like, okay, I'm on to the next one. If you continue to say, oh, I did two in one day, and then damn, the second day I did 3, and the fourth day, damn, I'm up to 4, but
Yeah.
I'm still doing 8 hours. It's like, holy shit, okay, I'm getting it. Like if I get into the groove, that's when you start making money. You're
No, yeah.
turning these cars around a lot faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the biggest thing in fleet or any type of wrap that you're doing on the car, as long as you keep your head down and keep working, you can do a car a day.
Yeah.
When, people are like, oh, I can't even do a car a day. And then it's like you watch them work and they're answering the phone,
Mm-hmm.
they're outside smoking a cigarette, they take a 2-hour lunch. I mean, all that stuff adds up.
Yep.
There's been times I'd rather skip lunch and just get the car done and be home early.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'd rather not eat and then I'm home an hour earlier.
Same here.
So, like, the news vans we did today, I think 3 guys We did the full removal and partial install in 5 hours.
Not a bad day.
Yeah. And I was on the phone probably for 2 hours. So it could have been a little faster.
Do you find yourself using your Bluetooth setup where you can still work and talk at the same time, or do you have to like stop working in order to talk?
I'm one of those people that has to stop working.
Yeah.
I just have to stop what I'm doing and walk away because I'll talk to someone while working, and then it was like, what did I just tell them? What day am I supposed to be there?
Yeah. Going back to the calendar, writing down notes, next job, and everything.
Yeah, and I actually had one of my first mess ups since I've been installing, and it cost me $3,200.
Oh my God!
So,
please share what happened with that.
We were doing a car trailer, and I left to get the guys lunch, and I have carpal tunnel, so I broke my wrist way too many times riding dirt bikes and BMX riding as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And now the carpal tunnel is starting to act up, so my hand will swell up out of nowhere, and I can't even hold a squeegee.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I left, and I come back, and they rolled all the rivets on a 53-foot trailer in less than 2 hours, or less than an hour.
Wow. And
I was looking at it, and none of the rivets were tight, and I had to replace the whole trailer.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh.
It happens.
Oh my God. What were they doing? Was it just a technique?
Yeah, I mean, at that time it was the new guy I just hired, and I showed him how to do rivets, and I thought he got it. And I want to say partially it's my fault because I should have just stayed there and made sure he knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I brought some guy in that I've worked with plenty of times, and it was just, he got lazy that day or something. I mean, he wasn't feeling it. Something was wrong. There's a million things that could have happened, but he just half-assed the whole job. And I was like, well, that bit me in the ass. Let's pay it out. Let's fix it. Give it to the customer, make them happy, and on to the next one. So that's all you can do.
Unreal. What's your technique to get those rivets tight?
I prefer a Rolly Pro.
Rolly Pro, yeah.
Yeah. Or Yellow Tools has their roller that works pretty good. So it just depends. I've been using the Yellow Tools roller a lot more than the Rolly Pro. It seems to be a little easier on my wrist.
Mm.
And when you have to roll a bunch of rivets, the Rolly Pro gets uncomfortable after a while.
Yeah, because it's a little bit smaller.
Yeah. So with the one from Yellow Tools, that one actually is adjustable, and you can angle it, and you can get a little more power behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the key is not to cowboy a bunch of rivets. You can only do so many rivets at a time before it starts getting cool right away, you know?
No, yeah, and when there's been projects where I can just leave my torch running,
mm-hmm.
and I just get in that rhythm of rolling rivets, and you just keep going down the side, and you have this nice little rhythm going, and the rivets get done even quicker. But there's some days you just have to go nice and slow and work at it.
So you take that full detail, even with the bigger, 52 foot trailers and things like that. You take that extra detail to get those rivets nice. Where if someone else might be just like, you know what, this thing's 52 feet long. It's going to be booming down the highway.
Yeah.
As long as they can read it, good enough. We'll get them tight. They're going to pop later. It is what it is. But you take that extra step.
I try to get them nice and tight. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, and I haven't had a trailer where they weren't nice and tight, but the underneath side wasn't the perfect canvas.
Right.
It's all based on when you're doing trailers and rivets, it's based on how good the trailer is.
Mm.
How oxidized is it? How old is this trailer? Where does it travel to? There's so many variables that just add up to the trailer and how good your wrap's going to look.
Right. Do you now, this is going to be a dumb question, but don't take it personal. Do you ever find yourself when the thing's chalky or whatnot that you have to use the primer and just roll out those rivets and just stick the vinyl over it?
No, I won't even do the trailer if it's too chalky.
Yeah, that's it. Done deal.
I'll tell them, and if they want me to clean it, or I'll tell them to bring out a wash crew and acid wash the trailer for us and that type of stuff, because it isn't worth me just trying to half-ass my job. Who knows, the middle of the panel can fall off. It isn't worth it. I'd rather tell them, hey, fix your trailer. Or if they tell me, oh, go ahead and put it on and whatever happens, I'll put it on. I'm an installer.
Right.
Technically, I'm hired by a bunch of different people. So it's their final decision. Put it on. It looks bad. It is what it is. That's what you told me to do. So,
and then it goes back to your processes. If you have your paperwork and everything's written out in stone and everybody signs off on it, then your bases are covered.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's all about covering yourself and your ass. We're in a business. We're in this business to make money. We're not. That's the only reason you open up a business. So you got to cover yourself and make sure you keep the money you made.
Right. Because it goes quick.
No, yeah. I mean, there's been times there was one project I ran from Texas to California, and I remember my first check was $72,000.
Wow.
And then I paid everybody, and I was like, that looks a lot more like my bank account now.
It's funny, dude. After, cost of insurance, vehicle, wear and tear, liability, tools.
Tools, and then hiring subcontractors on top of that just to get these projects done. People I trust personally that I've hired.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to price gouge people. And I'll be straight up with people. Hey, this project pays horrible. It is what it is. Do you want to do it or do you not want to do it? And then it's either yes or no. Or, hey, this project's paying really good. Here's how much it is.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. Some projects I win, some it's just to get me by.
Yeah.
I do some advertisement box trucks, and, it isn't the best pay, but it pays my bills. And that's the main thing. And then there's other times I'll land a huge project and it's great pay. And send out a crew, send out my guys, let them go handle it up in, Northern California. The hotels are covered, their food's covered, everything's covered. And I'm still making a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Every project differs. Sometimes you can make good money. Sometimes you make okay money. But the main thing, as long as you're making money, you're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was always the type of business owner where I like to do one thing, and whether it be design work or install, that was kind of like my main game. I hated, sitting behind the printer and getting all the files prepped and blah, 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 blah. I just hated that. But if you could get to a point where your business runs itself and you can wear one hat. I always liked going out and talking to people. I loved interacting with new clients. I loved hearing their stories. I loved hearing about what they want to get done and their ambitions and everything. Like, I wanted to help them create a better business through wraps to help better them. And I loved sitting down for hours. I would sit with clients once in a while, and I'd have a crew of 3M preferred installers that come over to my shop, and I'd keep them busy throughout the week. I'd be like, okay, give me one price. I'll line up so many cars for the week. You guys can just stay here. No worries.
Yeah.
So they would do that. Those were my best days. That's when I felt like I was a business owner. That's when I felt like I was at my best, where you have people working at your shop, at your facility, still making money, but you're out enjoying you're still making money going out and talking to people, but it was more enjoyable. You know what I mean? No,
yeah. And the funny thing is like, my guys will give me hell. They're like, man, you're over there talking to this guy forever, or you're on the phone with your customers forever. And I look at them, I was like, do we not have work? And they're like, yeah. I was like, all right, then be quiet. So
yeah, you're doing it for a reason.
The main thing, the thing I've realized is just be sociable.
Yeah.
I mean, you invited me on this podcast. I took the opportunity. I might get a phone call from this podcast. Who knows? It's just get your name out there, put yourself out there, introduce yourself to people. just talk to people. Next thing you notice, you'll get a phone call, 2 years later from that person. Like, hey, we met at so-and-so's place. And it's like, oh yeah, what's going on? And then they give you a job. And that's just how it is put yourself out there, become known. Don't be shy. Especially if you want to be an installer.
Right.
Just
You can't
introduce yourself to everybody.
Yeah, you can't be shy in this industry, man. Especially if you do really good work and people are talking about you. You can't be shy.
Oh yeah, and it's funny. Last SEMA for Dub Magazine, Dan Nava, he was like, "Hey, you any good?" And I'm like, "No, I suck at this, man. Like, I'm horrible." And he's like, "Please don't say that." And I'm like, "I don't know. I just do my job. Sticky side down, trim around the windows, make it look pretty, and go on." And then he was like, "Man, you're pretty good." And I was like, "Well, thank you." And like I say, I just try to stay humble at what I do. I don't ever want to say I'm better than anybody. And I have customers that are like, "Oh, you're the best." And it's like, no, I'm not. I know people better than me. I know people worse than me. I take care of my job. I get it done and I go on to the next one. That's the main thing. And I make sure my customers are happy.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of everyone's goal, is to make sure the customers are happy, because they're the ones writing the check at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yep. That's so funny. Well, I want to talk about what you have in your toolbox that you take with you day in, day out when you're going on an install. Which tools are you grabbing first?
Well, I carry a backpack that has all my tools in it. So pretty much I have every single tool I need for an install with me at every time.
Mm-hmm.
So it just really depends what job I'm on. If I'm doing a trailer, I'm going to use a 6-inch squeegee. If I'm doing a car, I'm going to go to, a smaller squeegee. If I'm doing some detailed color change work, I'm going to use, it just really depends on which project I'm on. Like I said, I carry every single tool that I need for a job with me inside my truck. So I pull up to a job and then it's like, all right, trailer day, pull out my trailer tools, rivet brush, roller, popper, torch, 6-inch squeegee, grab the scaffolding, grab the ladders, get going. If I'm doing a color change, it's like, all right, pull out the nice felt squeegees with nice buffers on it, pull out the nice new knives, that type of stuff. So it really just depends what project I'm on. Actually, about a year ago, me and Carl went up to do a project together up in Northern Cal,
mm-hmm.
and our car got broken into and all our tools got stolen.
Oh, Jesus.
All I had was one Rolly Pro, a torch, a knife, and a squeegee to wrap a whole food truck.
Oh.
So we did the whole food truck and we got it done. And I posted something, I think, on Instagram or Facebook that the car got broken into. And immediately, Yellow Tools sent me a message. Wrap Glove sent me a message. And PG Nola sent me a message.
Wow.
And those three people I'm thankful for. They sent me tools. I mean, PG Nola took the time out of his day to make a little care package for me and send it over to me. Yellow Tools, they threw some tools in a case for me, everything I needed to get back on the road. They sent me a package. I think by the time I got home from Northern Cal, Yellow Tools' package was already here.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So
and
Yellow Tools is taking great care of me.
And that goes without asking, man. It's just the way the community and the family-ness of the industry just kind of comes together, and without saying, it's like, yo, whatever it takes, I will send something to you to get you back on your feet.
No, yeah, and I mean, I wasn't expecting that. It was a shock. It was a shocker to me that, people actually took the time out of their day just to send me tools.
Yeah.
It's like, who am I? I'm just an average person. I install for a living. I'm just an average person. I don't look at myself any different than anybody else.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay. I mean, thanks guys. I wasn't expecting any of that.
That's incredible. That's an awesome story. I mean, I love it when you know something so tragic like that happens, whether it be tools or something personal that, a few people know, just everyone kind of comes together to make good on something that, someone may be down or something that's bad, just to get them back up on their feet. That's incredible. I mean, that's, like I said, that's one big, huge thing that I love about this industry is that when someone's down, there's always at least a few people out there that will reach out, DM, message, email, and say, hey, if you need anything, let me know. I'm here. I'll help you. You know what I mean? And
No,
that's
yeah,
so
most
humbling.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And I deal with a lot of print companies all around the U.S. and it's like they'll call me and they're like, "Hey, do you know anybody in this state?" And it's like, "Yeah, go ahead and call this person." And then I'm not one to be like, "No, I don't know anybody." I rather share the wealth. And I have some buddies out there across the U.S. that have called me and they're like, "Hey, I got a project in Cali. Can you handle it?" It's like, "Yeah, no
Mm-hmm.
problem." So I just feel like this industry, there's enough work for everybody and some.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much work out there, and the industry is still at its infancy, where you know it's still got so much more potential to grow. It's still so early to see where this is gonna take everybody. Um, so to just see what's gonna happen in even 5 years or 10 years, to see what's gonna happen with technology and how things are applied. Um, I honestly can't wait. It's incredible. Now, with you having the carpal tunnel too, you know what I mean? I always thought, I always thought of like an ergonomical style squeegee.
Yeah.
As weird as that might sound, I don't know if there's even anything out there that would
You know,
be
I
equivalent.
actually, I actually think there is someone made a squeegee. I forgot who it was, and it was for carpal tunnel. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never picked it up. I just
yeah.
squeegee left-handed now.
Yeah, it's an absolute problem in our industry because I would remember throwing, 5, 6, 700 square feet of material and then waking up in the morning and I literally wouldn't be able to open up my fingers. I'd have
Yeah.
I'd have a fist, and in the morning, literally, I had to like spread open my fingers to, and kind of work them out an hour before I even got into it because it's just all that squeegeeing in your forearms. It takes a lot out of you. Even though you're only putting on stickers, it's a
No, yeah.
body workout.
Yeah, I mean, in between what I grew up, I grew up BMX riding, dirt biking, and stuff like that. So I've put my body through hell.
Yeah.
I've had a knee replacement at 19, broken both my wrists twice.
Oof.
There's plenty of bones I've broken. So I wake up in the morning and I feel it. I'm like, when everybody told me you're going to feel this when you're older, I was thinking 40, not 28.
Yeah, right?
28's too soon.
Way too soon.
Yeah,
Way
but
too soon.
I actually went riding over the weekend and took a nice little crash and went head over heels, but I was at work on Monday.
You're still going at it, huh? Is that kind of like your hobby?
Yeah, I try to keep. I feel like a lot of people in the industry will just work
Yeah.
and work and work and work and work. It's like, guys, you have to do other stuff besides work, or it just becomes work.
Right.
I mountain bike. I go, dirt biking from time to time. I go camping, shooting, fishing. I try to do something at least once a week just to keep my mind happy because there was a point where I just worked and worked and worked. And you wake up in the morning and it's just work again.
Right.
And, those little after work going mountain biking or something for, 2 hours, that makes a difference in your life. It makes a difference in your attitude, how your whole mood and everything. You feel like waking up the next day. It isn't like, oh man, I have work again. So That's the main thing.
I definitely agree with you 100% on that. You have to get yourself out of that element and kind of recharge your batteries, not like R&R, but get your mindset off of the work aspect of things, the paperwork, the phone calls, the emails,
Exactly.
even the disconnect, which I still to this day have a hard time of, just not using my phone for a few hours. I feel anxiety. You know what I mean? Where it's
I don't
checking an email or something. It's now with technology, man. It's getting people into a different like realm. Like you said earlier, with the way the trade industry is going to be not absolute, but it's going to die down because everybody wants to be in front of a freaking computer or behind a desk.
Exactly.
It's gonna be like, it's almost gonna be robotic. And when you can take that element out and do something fun for yourself, where your mind isn't spinning about work, it's healthier for you.
No, yeah, and it's like, I'm not a real big email or text message person. I'm more like call the person and just get straight to the point.
Mm-hmm.
I hate sending emails and they just drag out for like 15 chains, and it's like, okay, this could have been a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, can we? And half the time people will email me, I'll call them and then send them an email just kind of recapping what we talked about on the phone.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't have the time to just sit there on my computer and type up an email. It's like, I'd rather get everything done on the computer and then install, or if I don't have an install job for the day, it's like, get everything done and then have a day to myself where I can just go do something. I can go wash my car, wash the truck, just do something, go hang with a friend, just live a normal life.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. It's living your life. It's not living to work or work to living, however that that realm goes. But you just have to have that separation. You have to. It's so healthy for you, and it's just a mind thing. I remember when I was working, oh man, like months at a time, and I'd sit back on like Sundays would be my only days really off, but it was never really off. I was always checking on what I got going on for Monday and prepping for Monday. And, I took up an indoor soccer league. Dude, that changed my life. One day a week, I would play with a bunch of 30 to 50-year-olds playing soccer for an hour and a half. That changed me. I was more, even though I had that extra physical like physical interaction, I was never tired. I was almost like recharged because of it.
No, yeah. I mean, this year it started off real rocky for me, I would have to say. And then out of nowhere, it just started picking up. Mm-hmm. It was like 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 14 days straight. And I quit doing all my hobbies, and it became to a point where I would wake up in the morning and it was like I was in a slump. It's like, oh man. And then I started riding again and, going out with my buddies dirt biking, going out to the river. Those type of things are, I love doing those things. And it's like, now I'm happy again. I'm rejuvenated. Just going for a bike ride for 2 hours will make you feel 100% better for that whole week.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a couple hours of separation could give you the whole week, for sure.
No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. That's a great piece of advice. Anybody listening, please do something for yourself, because God knows we don't do enough for ourselves. We're always, heads buried in work and worrying about the next job,
Yeah, I mean, when I was 19, I got ran over by a car on a motorcycle.
Really?
So, yeah, it blew my whole knee out. And you realize life is too short. Like, I could have been dead that day, Yeah. It's like everybody takes your life for granted. It's, you go to work, you come home, you think about work. You argue with your spouse or whatever, or you're all mad because of work. It's like, just go home and enjoy your life.
Right.
Go do something. take those days off. Work will always be there. Just because you turn down one job doesn't mean they're never going to call you again. Schedule it accordingly. That's my main thing, is I try to schedule everything to where you can have a life. And that's the biggest thing, is I need to have a life. I'm not here just to work. I've grown up in a family business. I mean, if I have to work, I'm not scared to work.
Right.
If I have to work Saturdays and Sundays because, I have 300 trailers and I'm not going to lose that contract, I'll work. But if it's one truck, it's like, I'd rather just stay home, honestly, sometimes.
Yeah. Is it worth it to kind of lose your
sanity?
Like,
or bring in extra guys and pay the extra guys to come work. Bring in 4 guys instead of 2 guys. Get the job done in half the time and get home early. Those type of things.
Yeah, so take a little bit of a hit. I mean, you're not making the whole piece of the pie, but if you can make a quarter of the pie, so what? You just fed work to your guys. Your guys are happy. They got their job done, and then you're able to do something else.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So I feel like a lot of people in this industry just work and work and just keep working. And it's like, God, how do you do that? I would go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what it is? I think it's just repetitiveness. And, I went through it. I would go a year, 2 years, and I'd look back and be like, do you have kids?
No, I'm single, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, you've got all the time in the world, but I've got 2 daughters, man. I would go years, and, I'd get to a point where I was just like, holy shit, like,
where did the time go?
From 4 to 6, I'm like, wow, what the fuck did I do for 2 years? We didn't take a family trip. We didn't go do something. We didn't go camping this year. I didn't even see the fucking beach this summer. Like,
yeah.
Where?
And I think the other thing is let's be honest, we make good money.
Yeah. Yeah.
We make damn good money, and we get caught up in a lifestyle of making good money. Yeah. And it's almost like we put ourselves into a corner where we have to work 6-7 days a week.
Living the rock style, the rock star style. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and that's the other thing is, live within your means. Mm-hmm. I mean, I bought a new truck, but I figured out I could afford it. Right. I was like, all right. And then I bought a new mountain bike, but I figured out I can afford it. Before I make these purchases, I sit there and contemplate for a month. And it's like, all right, is this going to work out? Okay, what happened if it gets slow? I should be fine. This is how much I have to make to live.
Right.
And tell yourself that.
I don't think anybody puts in a plan. Once you get that money rolling, man, it's just like, all right, let's just keep it going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you start buying things and you don't use them. And next thing you notice, you have a boat, a truck, a motorcycle. It's like, well, I have no time to use them because I bought all these at once.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys that would buy. I know a dude that has like 2 speedboats. It's like, God, where do you find the time? I always see your personal truck at the shop all day long. When do you ever go enjoy that boat or that other boat that you have? It's pointless. I mean, it's a status thing. I would assume it's fluffing up your feathers and being like, look, I worked my ass off. I've got this, but cool. You have it. Good for you.
How do you use it?
When do you ever get on the fucking thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible. I'd rather have nothing. I'd rather not have nothing and have time. To be quite honest with you, have all the time in the world.
No, yeah.
I'd rather work and make a decent amount of money, livable, nothing beyond my means, and have all the time in the world to have.
Oh yeah.
After.
No, most definitely. Definitely.
And I don't think anybody thinks that way.
And my main thing is, I'm still young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fresh in the industry. I'm really fresh compared to some people. So I've picked a bunch of people's brains and, hey, how did you start? How do you keep this going? And, I put it towards my work, but I want to build an install team. I want to build an army, and just have guys that I can send everywhere. That's my dream. Will it ever happen? Who the hell knows? But you have to have something to aim for. And if you just keep working as a solo installer, or, you and one other guy, and you just want to keep all that money coming to you, then you're going to be stuck in that lifestyle. But my idea is to build a team of installers, guys that I can run multiple projects and have a crew at one location, a crew at another location, I guess you would say like a superintendent, and then you have your journeyman, kind of run it like a construction company, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I put a lot of thought into this, and me and my buddies have talked about it a lot. How long has the rap industry been around? It's not that long. I mean, the actual vehicle wrap industry, not long. Decals, 70s, hand painting, we can go way back, that type of stuff.
Right.
Look at construction. How long has that been around?
Oh, God, since the caveman years, man.
Exactly. So why don't you base your company off of something like that, where you can mock or mimic how they do their business? If it works for them, why wouldn't it work for you?
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
I just feel like you have to have something to look forward towards. You have to grow your business the right direction. And I think you can live a comfortable life. Mm-hmm. People are always saying, oh, how are you going to keep your employees? What happened if they burn you? It's like, oh, they leave and they go do installs for little shops. And, if they actually make it, they make it. It's a competitor. It is what it is.
Right.
But the reason someone leaves your company is because they feel like they can do it better than you.
Right.
That's the only reason people leave your company. So talk with your people. What's going on? What can I do that's different? I talk with my guys all the time. I also pay them really good. Mm-hmm. I'm not cheap when it comes to my guys getting paid.
Do you feel like having that line of communication and not looking at them as so much an employee, but as more or less like a partner, you know what I mean, of the company, that aspect gives you kind of like an upper hand to keep them longer?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, my full-time guys right now, I mean, they want to grow with the business. Mm-hmm. They see opportunity. They understand what I go through on the paperwork side and the emails and the phone calls and the invoices, and they understand. And they're like, I can never do that. I don't know how you can just sit there after work from 8 o'clock till midnight just doing paperwork.
Right.
And I'm like, someone has to do it.
Right. Because then bills don't get paid.
But exactly. Then they don't get paid.
Right. I mean, if they look at it in the long run, where you're vocally expressing your thoughts and where the company's going to go, they're probably thinking, because this is my mentality, because I'm a carpenter now, mm-hmm. By trade now. I've been doing it for almost 2 years. I would see what you're doing and how you're talking to the to your guys, your crew, that these big kind of this big bubble of what you kind of want to come up with. So what I would see in their shoes would be like, okay, if he really wants to grow an army, a big crew, 20, 30, 50 people, because we were at the beginning, maybe we can be the GCs, and we wouldn't have to be the grunts anymore. We can kind of go and delegate the jobs and make sure jobs get done, and take a little bit of that paperwork flow off of your hands and put it in their hands and let them take care of the jobs for you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's exactly what I want to see happen.
Yeah.
I want the guys who are here at the beginning to be able to live a lavish life where they don't have to work as hard as they are right now.
Right. Right.
And I think it's possible. I really do. And there's people out there that will be like, oh man, he's crazy. This will never happen. Well, it depends how determined you are.
Yeah, man. I think you being as young as you are and already knowing as much knowledge as you know, it just for the last hour and so odd minutes we're talking, I can clearly see you have a plan set and you're on the right track because you're saying all the right things. Now, it's one thing about saying them, and then there's another thing upon doing them. I really see you doing this because you've already made sacrifices to better yourself, whether it's, creating time for yourself, creating time for your guys, building a network, having all these things in place. I see it coming sooner than later for you.
No, yeah, and it's like whenever we go to trade shows and stuff, I look at it as an opportunity to meet new people, to grow my business, to expand my business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at it as, yes, I do get to see good friends and people I love to see and stuff like that, but you also have to take advantage of it. There's so many people that will go to these shows and just kind of stay in their bubble,
right,
and hang out with their friends, and it's just time for them to get away from work. Well, I look at them as a time for me to grow my work.
Right.
And then once the show's over and you go to the after party, now that's the time to have fun with your friends.
Correct. Yeah.
So
that's when you let loose.
But it's also at the after parties, it's also times when everybody's loosened up, when you can talk to people on a personal level.
Right. Everyone's loose and things are less in the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's people honestly hire you because they like you.
Yeah.
And then it comes to how good is your work.
Yeah.
That's just something I've picked up over, the years of dealing with people. If they like you, they'll keep using you. You do good work, they'll keep using you. But you have to have that mix of good work and likability.
Right. As soon as you lose one or the other, that's when things start really hitting the fan.
Yeah. And like I said, I pay my guys good, and they know if they mess up, they don't get paid for the redo.
Mm.
So that's kind of how I lay it out, is I pay everybody a certain way to where they make a good amount of money and I make a good amount of money. And they're not hourly. So the more jobs they do in a day, the more they can make.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like that works.
Yeah.
But it also, you mess up, you got to redo this whole job.
Right. It's a great mentality.
Everybody seems to be okay with it.
I would be okay with that. That type of system works, where you would probably, what you're saying is they probably get paid by the square foot, most likely, which is the best route to do it, to be honest with you. As an installer, being a mobile installer, doing things for other people, paying you guys by the square foot is the best way to do it, because it gives them more incentive to make more per day. It's not like, this job's like $1,000 and you're getting paid, $18 an hour, blah, 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 blah. It's sometimes they drag the freaking job out if you pay them by the hour. Who wants to do that? You know what I mean?
No, yeah, exactly. I mean, let's be honest. If you're getting paid $18 an hour, or if you're getting paid square footage, you're going to work faster square footage.
Oh, hell yeah. All day. I want to get to the next job.
And you will enjoy work, I think, more that way. Because you're challenging yourself. You're like, yesterday I did 500 square feet. Let me see if I can do 6 today. And then you're keeping a constant challenge.
Yeah.
And, if I see them mess up and I see something poor quality or something like that, I get on them. I'm like, what, you think this is okay?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
yeah.
well, I didn't think you would see it. I'm like, trust me, I've done this.
Yeah, I know.
I've made those same mistakes.
Yeah, I know where you're gonna lack. Those are gonna be the first places I go to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those cut edges around the corners of the trailer. Those are the first places I'm gonna go look.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast, and that goes towards you being the authority or the boss coming back and teaching them the right way to do it. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Yeah.
And also I wanted to touch too. Now you're an APA rap trainer as well, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So how did you get involved with them? Not to get off track, but
I got involved with them through. Okay, so I'm trying to remember. Okay, we did a car. I was with Carl at the time doing color changes, and we did a car together. And I met Mattia through Carl, and he just kind of liked me and my old business partner, and we just stayed in contact. And one day he was like, "Hey, we're going to do training classes. You seem to understand the film pretty well. Can you give us a hand?" And I more help them do training. I'm not going to say I'm fully a full trainer, but whenever they need me to do something, I'm more than willing to help them and teach a class or show people. I've had advanced classes where I have people that I'm just like, oh my, what am I supposed to teach you? Like, you've been doing this longer than me. It's like, I don't know what to teach you. And, those are the hard classes to show people something different. And it's like, what can I show them that they don't know? So, and my biggest thing is I study people when they rap. I watch how they do stuff. Maybe they do something a little bit different that's going to help me speed up my process of rapping. So I'm always constantly developing different ways of doing things or stealing ideas from people. So I have a lot of little tricks that I can teach people that they don't know. And it's like, okay, at least they learned one thing. But every time I've asked a class, did you learn something? Especially the advanced classes. And they're like, yeah, man, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. So it's cool. I mean, teaching people how to do it's hard. It's really hard. You have to have some patience. And sometimes you just want to tell them, like, don't quit your day job. But
oh shit. I mean, it's you either have it or you don't have it once in a while, and you can tell the people that are really into it that, may make something out of it, but then you got the hobbyists that are just, they want to learn and they want to just tinker.
I wouldn't even say it's that. There's some people that really want it, but they just don't got it. And it's like, how do you, and you can't tell them that they're not good. It's like, okay, you have to kind of work with them and try to make them better and try to make them understand. And it's like at the end of the class, sometimes it's like, oh man, I feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nature of the beast though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have to
really
continue to work hard at it, do it I think it's the repetition of doing it will get you there faster. When you're when you're a newbie and you don't have that constant clientele and you're always trying to build your clientele in the beginning and trying to get people to like, hey, I'll give you a deal, come over, just let me do a rap, please. I haven't done anything in like 2 weeks. It's you don't have that continuous job flow, and you're not learning and keeping your mind kind of stimulated in the industry to continue to teach yourself. And that's the hardest part, I think, when you're trying to get into the industry, because you could take a class and you get super stimulated when you leave. You can't wait to get home and rap something, and then you get home and you don't have any jobs and you're like, fuck, like,
exactly,
what am I gonna do,
No, yeah, most definitely. I mean, when I took my first class, it was just like, I rapped everything.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I just got to keep going. I got to keep practicing. And, I am where I am now. And it's kind of like a blur. It's like, how the hell did I end up here? Like, why the fuck do people call me and ask me how the fuck to do something?
Yeah.
It's like, why? Like, I did not expect any of this in my life. I did not expect, to be known in an industry or to go to SEMA and do demonstrations where people are just watching you and asking you questions or teaching rap classes. I never expected any of that in my life. And like I said, I'm just a normal guy. I'm no one special.
But isn't that the best part? Isn't that the best part of it at the end of the day? When you look back now, you're getting on to almost 10 years now, being more or less in the industry. And you started all because you were delivering a part somewhere, saw somebody rap in a car, asked a couple questions, and just was, curious. And now, and now look at you, dude. To sit down and just hear that type of story, man, it's influential to me, because that's the type of shit that, like, you can't make up. When you sit back 20 years from now, you're gonna have that same story, and it's gonna be even bigger 20 years from now. You know what I mean?
And my main thing is I think what's gotten me so far is, like I said, I lost my paycheck.
Yeah.
So I had to do something.
Yeah, you were hungry.
And I'll never forget that. Like, I don't care. Sometimes I honestly don't care how much a job pays, because money's money.
Right.
And, if I can make $300 that day when I know the job should be $900, well, it's $300 I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my main thing. I feel like a lot of people, and I even tell when I teach about that, don't get distracted from where you started from. I remember my buddies going out partying and going to the bars and just having a good old time, and I'm sitting at home because I didn't have money.
Right.
And now it's like, I bought a brand new truck. I have all the toys I've ever wanted, type thing, go on vacations with my friends to the river and take a whole week off and just be at the river. And, how many people can actually say they can do that at 28?
Right. Not a lot. Yeah.
I help the mechanic industry isn't what it used to be. So I help the family out, and I have zero problem with giving them money. It's like, sometimes it's slow, and
right.
It's like, well, I need help on the house rent. No fucking problem. Like, you guys created me to be who I am today.
Right.
And my work ethics have developed because of them. So I'm not scared to work for cheap pay. I'm not scared to work. I'll work if I have to work. I prefer to raise my prices and get better pay. And, I'm not going to say I'll work all the time cheap. But if it's for a friend, a company I do a bunch of work for, hey man, this project's horrible fucking pay, but I need it done. Fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, I mean, you're not going to win every single battle.
Right.
And that, when you're learning, you just gotta keep at it. Just don't give up.
Yeah. I mean, the hardest part is starting at the end of the day.
No, yeah.
The hardest part is just starting. The rest will come for sure.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be straight up. You ain't gonna make money your first 4 years.
No.
You're barely gonna make it by. It just depends on how much you want to sacrifice.
Yeah. You are 100% true, man. I remember eating macaroni and cheese for a few months, because that was the only thing I could afford. That's what we ate every day.
Yep.
Lunch and lunch and dinner for a little while. It was what it was.
Yeah. But I mean, you have to make those sacrifices to become someone.
Yeah. Yep. You gotta go. No matter, even if you hear about the big entrepreneurs, the big guys, look at Amazon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That original picture of him sitting behind a desk with the banner spray painted Amazon. Whoever knew now that was going to be the thing that puts Toys R Us out of business, puts Walmart almost out of business, buys all these book companies. Like, this guy came from fucking nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but he was able to stand by it, believed in it, you know, walked through shit to get to where he is now, and now he's
one of the richest.
He's created something that is more that now it's more valuable to people, which is time. Nobody has to get out of their house to go buy a roll of toilet paper. You can order it on fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
It's at your door tomorrow.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I probably order 3 times a week off of Amazon.
I'm literally like an Amazon whore. I'm always getting new equipment off Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm buying shit I don't need, and just because I'm like on it, and it's like, oh, this is something that you might like, and it's okay, yep, but one click buy. Well.
Oh, yeah.
Impulse buying? You kidding me?
All my knives and blades come from Amazon. Yeah, no, let me rephrase that. All my knives and blades come from Amazon. Thank you, Amazon.
Yeah, right? I mean, you can't beat the pricing.
Listening, I need a 10% discount code. No.
Yeah, we have an affiliated link after the podcast that you can click on Moody's website and my website. Yeah, it's. I mean, he's created even that aspect, the affiliated marketing.
Do you know they have giveaways now?
Yes.
Oh, what the? All right, yeah.
It's mind blowing, isn't it? Like, what the? Yeah. Like, where is this all going? You know what I mean? It's incredible.
What's crazy is Amazon hires 50% people with a degree and 50% without.
I believe it. I know a girl that's going to school now that works at one of the packaging facilities for Amazon. About 30 minutes from where I live. She goes to school full time and then goes there part time, and she fulfills shipments.
Yeah,
all
my
day.
buddy applied. He applied to Amazon, and like 7 months later, they called him and were like, "Hey, you still looking for that job position in human resources?" And he's like, "Yeah." They gave him 40 shares as a signing bonus. He never graduated college. And now he's making close to 6 figures.
Yeah, but full benefits. Yeah. You know what I mean? 401k, retirement. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of us in the rap industry are never going to see that. We'll be pushing a squeegee till we're 70. But,
See, that's the thing I realized is, like I said, both my grandparents owned businesses. My parents owned a business. Multiple businesses, and it's like I look back at everybody and it's like they don't have a retirement fund.
Right.
Let's just be honest. I mean,
right. It's
it
like
is what it is.
What can you do to set yourself up knowing that they're not going to be able to benefit from that now? Yep. That you can change for yourself to better yourself when you're 65, because this is a conversation that nobody ever has. Nobody ever thinks, even going back to when you got hit by the car or the motorcycle. Okay, let's just say for some reason now you got to be on disability and you've been rapping for 10 years.
Yeah.
Now you can't pick up a squeegee. What are you gonna fucking do?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is people tell me like, oh, you're going to get disconnected from the company. You're just going to be pushing papers. It's like, that's fine.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. As long as I keep hiring good, solid crew members that I can trust, you know, and I feel like with them, with the way I pay them and them making, a decent, pretty good living actually, I don't feel like they're going to go anywhere. What's the point? And I told them, I was like, you guys can leave and go try to start your own business. But I sat here for 7 years with nothing. So let me know how it works.
Yeah.
Or you can come work for me and, make a decent living. And it's like, oh, well, let me just work for him probably.
Yeah. It's not to pigeonhole somebody into, or pin them up to a corner, sort of say, hey, listen, you leave me, you're going to have to go through the same shit I went through. So you might as well just cut that out and help me build this brand together. Yeah. And you know what? It's just the way you word it.
And the other thing I offer is like, say one of my installers, they find a job, they get an extra finder's fee on top of it.
Yeah, there you go.
You
Extra
know, it's like,
incentive.
I don't have this job, you got this job, and here's some extra money for getting the job.
Yeah.
I'll handle the emails, the paperwork, setting up appointments, all that. All you got to do is install it.
Win-win.
And it's like, they're happy with that. They're like, okay, thanks. That's an extra amount of money they didn't have. Or they could have tried to do it themselves and, you know, they don't have insurance, they don't have this, they don't have that. It's like, oh man, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, you can lose your shirt real quick on a bad job.
No, yeah, and I mean, that one big project that went wrong, I cut the glass. Apparently, you can cut the glass on a Corvette, the new ones, if you press your blade too hard into it.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I found that out by a friend of mine that window tints, and he was stretching the back window, forming it, and
yeah,
you know they put the light inside to cut around the edge to get the same
cut
shape.
around the edge to get it. Yeah,
he took it off and he was like, "Oh my god, why the fuck is there a line there?"
Yep, that's what happened to me.
That cost
nice $1,100 rear window.
Yep. Yeah.
I've had, since we install, I've been outside installing a car and the wind came and took my panel.
Ooh.
That was $400. I mean, half these companies I install for, they gouge you when they reprint.
Oh my god, yeah. Because it's stopped production right away.
Exactly. And I understand business is business.
Yeah.
I mean, just because, me and this one, let's just say a company, we go out and have a beer together doesn't mean, business ain't business, and I tell people that, like, I have friends in the industry. It's like, yo, when it's business, but once we're off, we can go grab a beer and some dinner. I don't give a shit. We're friends then, but when we're at work, it's business.
Right. It's nice to be able to shut it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have friends that, fuck, man, we'll go out to eat and all they're talking about is fucking work. It's like, dude, can you shut it off, please?
Well, like with me and my buddies, we enjoy our work. So
yeah.
It's like, I don't mind, like, we'll all sit and bullshit about our fucked up days at work. But that's what we do. It's like, we'll, after work, grab some beers together and just bullshit about how fucked up our day was and what the hell went wrong. And
well, how can we make that better?
Yeah, exactly. So it helps. I feel like that helps, though.
Yeah, it's cheaper than going to see a shrink, right? Grab a couple pitchers of beer with the guys and vent for a few minutes and then, start fresh the next day.
Exactly.
That's so funny. I wanted to ask you, so, given that you have a plan, you have goals, you're setting expectations, what do you have planned for, I know we're a little bit over halfway through the year already, but what do you have planned for the next 12 months?
My next 12 months, probably just keep growing the business. I'm trying to build some alliances with some companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, with them, they're a major print company, with them backing me on the print side and me handling their installs. Hopefully we can grow into something major. I feel like California is very untapped, I feel like.
You think so?
I feel a lot of the stuff that is produced by smaller shops compared to these bigger companies who can print at a lower cost than everybody else.
Okay.
I don't want to sound like a dick, but like I said, business is business.
Yeah, man. It's all about volume.
It's honestly about who you know. And I have good relationships with a company out there and they can print super fucking cheap. And I told them, let's partner up, be business working partners, pretty much they do the printing, I do the installing, get a signed contract with them, where I can handle, pretty much all of California, and they do all the printing, and I get all those jobs. So that's something I'm really pushing forward with. I know it is messed up for some of those small mom and pop print shops, but you really can't have feelings when it comes to your business and where you want to be. You just got to go.
Yeah.
You got to grow.
Yeah, you can't think small, man. Then you get complacent.
Yep.
You got to think big and have big ambitions, big goals, because then, you never get there.
Yeah.
Never get there.
And my other thing is I need to get a 3M certification and Avery.
Mm-hmm.
I already got my PDAA. I have APA. I have Hexus. I don't know what's left.
Oracal. You still got
Oracal.
Oracal.
I do all of Arlon's. I do a lot of
Arlon's
Arlon's product testing.
Yep. You do all of Arlon's product testing. Okay.
Not all of it. I'm going to say whatever they need in Southern California done. I know they ship out across the U.S. to different climates and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I'll tell you, Arlon.
Arlon's commercial stuff is just incredible, man.
Yeah, they're coming out with some other stuff that's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I've been hearing.
Keep your eyes open.
Hearing through the grapevine. Yeah, I've had a couple conversations. With some peeps, and it's great. Them pulling their color change product off the market. I think as tapped as that industry might be already through Avery and Oracal, KPMF, and 3M. It's kind of nice to just have Arlon focused more on the commercial stuff. You know what I mean? Just kind of go to the beat of your own drum. If that's the market you want to be 100% committed in that market. And I think that was a good decision on their part.
No, yeah, it was a very good decision on their part. I mean, their new products they're amazing.
Yeah.
Never did I think I would be able to pre-panel the whole side of a Sprinter van and install it by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, when I did my PDAA certification, it was all in Arlon. And I was like, hell yes.
Yeah, I know this
because I use it so much.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I write notes on these products and turn it in to their R&D department. I explain what I'm thinking, and it was like, all right, this is going to be easy. So
that's awesome.
I slammed through the van, probably one of the quickest out of everybody. It wasn't too big. I think it was like 2 panels. And then what I did, I pre-seamed it and just threw it on real quick, and I was done in 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, so man. It's such a neat trick to pre-seam it.
No, yeah, I love pre-seaming stuff. There was one time me, Carl, and my old partner, we did an 18-foot box truck in 12 minutes.
Come on.
We pre-seamed everything and just hung it up and laid the whole side in 12 minutes.
Yes, it might take you 30 minutes to pre-seam it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the ground, on the production
the whole side
table.
didn't take us any longer than an hour. So,
right.
I mean, it was probably 45 minutes for the whole side.
Yeah, but you know what? When you start getting into, panel 1, panel 2, register, panel 3, register, you're adding 3-4 minutes each panel without even fucking squeegeing it yet or taking the backer off,
No, yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
It was just, I think we pre-seamed both sides in like 30 minutes and then installed one side in 12 minutes and the other side in like 15.
It's, it's so cool to hear stories like that. And it's not even like something that you guys are like, okay, how fast can we really put this on? It's not even, it's just like, hey, let's just pre-seam it, put it up, squeegee it. And then you look at the time, you're like, wow, cool, we did that.
Well, yeah, what was crazy is like me and my old partner, he's working with us for the summer right now. And it's great to have him back because I don't have to talk. He knows what to do. It's like we read each other's mind.
Yes.
And even when I work with Carl or, I went out and visit James and I was trying to help him on Chrome, but he's so used to doing it alone that like I was pulling it and he's like reaching for it and he's like, "Oh, you're already there." So
yeah, it's just mind blowing. It's when you have that continuous workflow. It's like you get to a job. It's like, okay, yep, you got fenders, I got bumpers. You got the door,
yeah,
I got the quarter panel. Like you don't even have to say it. It's just like let's just get through it, rip through it,
yeah.
get it done. You know, those are the best teams. When you don't hear,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that's what I've noticed, to be quite honest with you. When you don't hear the guys talking too much to each other, that's when you know they have their shit together.
No, yeah, but with me and my crews, we have to talk shit to each other.
That's what like, gets you through the day, right?
Yeah, if I have a quiet job site, I go crazy. Like I said, I grew up in a mechanic shop. Like, there's a lot of shit talking. So.
Yep. Do you guys usually play music while you're at shops, or you guys like have to be respectable and kind of?
Depends on the location.
Yeah.
Depends where we are.
What are you usually listening to yourself?
Dude, I listen to everything.
Yeah.
It just depends what I'm feeling. Some days it's, country. Some days it's hip hop. Some days it's
Taylor Swift.
Rock.
Taylor Swift. Like
on occasion.
Like Scotty. Scotty's always listening to Taylor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes I'll just put my phone on shuffle and it's like EDM and then it goes to like Eazy-E and then it'll go to like Taylor Swift.
There you go.
And it's like, well,
a little variety. That's okay. No shame in that, man. That's cool. Yeah.
Sometimes it's like 80s dance music or house music, and then from there it goes on to hardcore like punk music, and it's just I like it all. I need variety in my life. I can't just listen to one genre.
Yeah. They don't make I don't have the conversation. Well, actually, I'm gonna lie. I pretty much talk about music pretty often on here because I just feel like the type of music you're listening to in your shop, in your environment, kind of helps you get through the day and kind of gives you that motivation to kind of get through certain things. And it's funny to hear different people of what they listen to. Some people will listen to country, some people will listen to hard rock or old school rap, and it's the younger generation. I just like to get an inside look at what everyone's kind of listening to nowadays, because most of these people are a little bit older, a little bit young. You're a little bit younger,
yeah,
but 80s babies, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like that genre of music back then was, for me, always a lot better than the new shit that they're coming out with now. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I mean a lot of the new music. Honestly, I find myself lately with like late 90s, late 90s, 2000 rock, country, and old school hip hop.
Old school hip hop, yeah.
That's what I find myself listening to lately.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like it all. I'll even listen to salsa music. I mean, like I said, I grew up in a mechanic shop, so.
Oh, there you go. Salsa.
I'll listen to everything.
That's a first.
Yeah. I mean, whatever comes across my shuffle. I mean, there's a lot of music on my shuffle.
So sometimes you don't even. Sometimes it's just background music. It's not even a thought. Till the song's over, you're like, wait a minute, what were we listening to just now?
Yeah, I mean, well, like growing up, my grandmother listened to country. My grandpa listened to classical jazz. My mom was more like 80s punk / 80s dance music. My dad was disco and dance music style. And then he's Palestinian, so I got Arabic music. And then going to the shop, a lot of the mechanics were Hispanic, so you get salsa music. And then, I don't know, I'll listen to anything. As long as the beat's good, and that's all that really matters to me.
So now, what did you say your nationality was? Palestinian?
My dad's Palestinian, and then my mom is Caucasian.
Wow. How's the food?
It's good.
Yeah?
Really good. I mean, I had so much of it that I'm like burnt out on it. Yeah, my mom knows how to cook Middle Eastern style food, so
That's awesome. So
it's
literally a ton of food at the dinner table, I would
yeah.
assume.
Well, not anymore, but yeah, growing up, yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's incredible. I come from Europe. Well, my parents are from the islands of the Azores, which is part of Portugal, and
Okay.
you know, their meals were always because they back then it was a different generation back then. They would have, my dad's got like 4 or 5 different siblings. You know what I mean? It's not
Hmm.
like nowadays where it's like you have one kid or maybe even 2 kids. Back then it was always like 5 or 6 because back then it was literally they'd go out to the fields, they would harvest. My dad
Yeah,
would go to up until 4th grade, and then he'd work on the farm and feed
yeah.
the
It's like a
chickens.
business investment.
Yeah, man. It was a property game. It was, who's got the most land to build the most crop. And, my
Yep.
grandpa would have, 4 guys and then a daughter. Daughter would be home, cooking and cleaning the chickens to get prepped for the
Exactly.
meal. And my father and his brothers would be out in the field, feeding the harvest, getting ready for crops, trading things. And that's how it was back then, man. It's just mind blowing when I go back. It's whole mentality of the way of living is so lax compared to here.
Yes.
So
Yes.
have you been back since?
Last time I went there, I was 6 years old.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm actually trying to go, hopefully within the year. I want to
Nice.
go visit and stuff and see the fams.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, um, like I said, my dad grew up on a farm too, so um, I've never been shy of working. I think I was just bred for work.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say our generation, um, it was a different mentality, back then, and I think that sparked us to keep that work ethic going. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I think
I
we're the
mean, growing.
last breed of this type of work ethic where we're not afraid to get our hands dirty.
No, yeah, most definitely. Growing up, it was like days off, go to work.
Yep, yep,
It's like, oh, summer vacation, you're coming here, you're helping run the family business. It's like,
yeah,
all right, so
yep,
yeah, I'm grateful for it all. It
yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't be where you are now without that the little extra push,
Yeah, it gave me good work ethics. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude. I know we talked for a little bit over 2 hours here now. Talked about some great stuff, man. I really appreciate you sharing your stories and everything. Is there anything that you may want to talk about that we didn't bring up during our conversation?
um,
Any piece of advice you would want to give any of our listeners?
I mean, advice wise, just keep pushing. Don't give up. Just because one thing goes wrong doesn't mean it's the end of the world. There might be times you might lose money, but there's also times that you're going to make good money. So just don't give up. Hold that dream and keep moving on. Other than that, I mean, sticky side down.
Stickies, I love that. I love that. And I'll have to quote you on that one, but I love that. When you had said it earlier, actually wrote it down. I'm like, that's fucking genius. Sticky side down. It's so funny.
Well, I feel there's a lot of people in our industry that take it. I mean, they take it a little too serious. And I'm like, guys, let's be honest here. Let's look at the big picture. We play with big stickers.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, we make a good living by playing with stickers. Let's just be honest. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, it isn't just a big sticker. There's a bunch of different films, but I always just say it joking around. Sticky side down, guys. Sticky side down.
That's it. If you've
My
got
guys are always
that,
like, oh, I got
it. Today was a good day.
Yeah.
We didn't forget to take the backer off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Oh man, that's too funny. That's awesome.
I like to have a sense of humor. You can't be too serious.
You gotta shit talk. You gotta give your guys crap. You know, those are the days that get you through those days.
Yep.
You know, so
exactly.
That's too funny. Moody, it was absolute pleasure having you on, man. I think I haven't laughed that much in a little while. So great freaking talk. Let everybody know where they can follow you and get more information about your business.
Check us out on hightechvinyl.com for our website, and then Instagram Hightech Vinyl, Facebook Hightech Vinyl Installations. So check us out over there.
Definitely. Anybody in the area of California, hit up Moody for those installs.
Anybody that needs installs done in Southern California, please contact us.
Definitely. Dude, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come on the show and share your stories and give some advice, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Thanks, man.
Thank you to everyone for tuning into the podcast, and thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to the 3rd annual Raps VIP event in Long Beach, California on August 3rd. Make sure to head over to their website at www.rapsvipevent.com for more information. And thank you to all our listeners. If you liked our content, share it. Give us a rate and review. Till next time, folks, that's a wrap.